Hey everyone, welcome back to Project Heavy Hauler. This has been fun. I've been going steady on this thing for about 2 weeks. Basically, everything that's either wrong with it or all the accessories that I feel that I need to do my day-to-day chores around here are getting installed in one go. I know me, friends. If I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. I will just make do with this truck for the rest of its life. I'll do that tomorrow. In my world, I got only so much free time, and the only way to get a project done is to literally take it out of service. So we've been plugging away at this truck little by little. We did the headache rack, the work lights, and the front light bar. Put the airbags on. I removed the gooseneck the other night. I'll show you guys that. Today's video, let's get going on this air compressor system. I'm going to run the lines and at least mount this and get the lines going into the truck. I am putting a set of pillar gauges on this truck, and I'm going to have to steal power from a similar or the same power source for the compressor and for the lights probably. So I may wire that in another video, but let's get this thing mocked up and ready to go. First things first, when you get your airbag kit, they send you this. You get one line with a Schrader valve on each side, and basically you measure and cut your lines, plug them into the airbags, and I'll show you guys how to do that. It's really simple. And then run your Schrader valve to either the bumper or the fuel filler. And I went over that in the last video where I was working on the bags. Now we're not going to do that in today's video. We're going to plumb our rear bags from the back to the front into this nice little airlift air compressor. If you guys are going to get airbags on your truck, they are a great thing. Like I said, they are not to be mistaken for a heavy leaf package. They will jack your truck up, but you have to be careful. You can do damage by overinflating. The book says no more than 80 psi. Well, I've never put 80 psi in my bags. Not once. 40 to 45 was the max amount I've ever put, and that's with a 4,500 pound load in the bed. So, 15, 20 pounds is what I would do, and that would just smooth out the ride and keep the weight on the front tires. Anyhow, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks because I have installed this system before. Number one, my last system, I did develop an air leak. These are put together with quick connect couplers. My last system, I used an Olfa knife because you want to cut these airlines as straight and, as straight and as perfectly as possible. You don't want to collapse them. Well, this time, I've always wanted one of these. I went and bought a nice set of Lennox tubing cutters. And, okay, this is the way to do this. Put it in here. Now I'm going to cut the Schrader valve off. Okay, and that makes a perfect cut. Whoa. That makes a perfect cut every time. And that way you won't get any leaks, okay? So that's one thing I'm going to say. If you are going to install one of these, a set of tubing cutters like this can save you a lot of grief. These are like 20, 25 bucks. And it'll save you $100 worth of headaches. My last system did leak for quite a few months before I actually figured it out, and it was a matter of taking an airline off, cutting it again, and putting it back together. Anyhow, I'm going to start on the passenger side, clip this in, and then I'll run the airline to the driver's side, clip it in on that side, and I'll show you guys that. And then what you do is you grab one of these T's. These are quick connect T's. You just push the line in there, and they snap in place. And I'm going to cut this line where it goes from one bag to the other. I'm going to cut it close to the driver's side frame rail. I then will pull the supplied line that comes with the system up the frame rail and under the hood. Then we're going to figure out where to mount this air compressor. Anyhow, I'm going to jump underneath and run my first airline. Here's the line. It's coming up and over the frame. It's sitting there nicely. I will probably zip tie it in place in a couple spots. But for now, I just want to get everything run and get everything set to length. Try to keep you guys in the light. There's that 90-degree fitting that we installed in the last video. Okay, I'm just going to set you guys back up here. I want you guys to see how easy these are to install. Okay, I got my cutters. These are really nice cutters. Look, for doing small tubing, click it once and it just opens Okay, now all I'm gonna do is, where do I want my line? I want it about right here. I'll just measure it with my thumb. Now I gotta open it more because of what I'm doing. Okay, just gonna put it in my cutter and cut it off. Okay, and then I got a nice straight flush cut. Now the remainder that we just cut off, I'm gonna use under the hood. Now all you do is take this line right here, push it into the end, okay? Push it until it stops, that's it. That's how easy it is to install these airlines. Now I'm probably gonna cinch this down right there. I'll probably zip tie it, but that's it. That's how easy it is to connect these. So now I have one bag connected to the other. Now what I'll do is I'll climb underneath right about here, and I'm gonna cut that line and I'll put a T there. That T will then come down and we'll run it along the frame on the inside to protect it to the firewall. Let's get going. If I do this right, I should be able to run this in next to the factory wiring harness. And then I really won't need much in the way of zip ties. Is the plan. I always plan to plan and try, right? You see this truck's had some new brake lines installed in the back. It reminds me of my 6.5. Remember all that brake work I did to that thing? That was something. Okay. I have to push this through here. This is going to take some work. Or not, it may go. I can't see what's in the frame here, so I really have no way to see what's here. Oh. There we go. Well, that wasn't so bad. How much farther do I gotta go? I gotta go up and through here. Looks like there's a frame cross member here. I don't know if, oh yeah, I can get through here by the looks of things. I don't mind working on this Ford. It's actually, I would say it's actually easier to work on than the Chevys, which is scary because I'm a Chevy guy. I know my Chevys. This is the first time I've ever worked on one of these. Okay. And I don't think I'm going to use any zip ties on this install. Again, push the button, it opens that little bit. Now I'm just going to cut the first couple inches off of this because I'm worried about dirt in my air system. You can tape the end off if you're worried about running out of line. Now I've already pre-measured all this. Again, I do a lot of layout work before. There you go. A lot of layout work before I do these projects, especially when you're filming them. It's, I don't know. I think it's just easier to kind of know what you're up against. And again, that's just me. I'll look at things for a bit before I go, okay, ready to go. Okay, here's the other end, pulled up through the frame. It's running down with all those, with all the work light wires. That was my plan. That way I can zip tie everything together and everything's out of the way. Now I'm just going to get you guys set up here, talk about where I'm going to mount this compressor. So a few of you mentioned that you have these mounted under your hood. Originally I didn't like that idea, but I had a couple of messages from people. One fellow's in Alberta. It gets cold in northern Alberta. And he said he has his mounted under the hood. So I think I'm going to mount this right here. It's not in the way of anything. And nice thing about that is it's quiet. One complaint I had with this system in my last truck, I had this under my driver's seat. When I was pumping up my bags, it was super, super loud. And kind of an annoyance, I'm not going to lie. But still nice to have. So I think I'm going to mount this here. Now, the only tricky thing about this is I think I'm going to have to put my T in. Because now I got to run a T up, over, and through the firewall. So that I can hook it up to my my air compressor switch. Where this wiring will go, and to the gauge. I got everything sorted out. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this a little long. This piece down here. I don't want to short myself. I also don't want so much that it's going to rub on anything, but at the same time, I'm gonna leave myself a little bit of wiggle room so I don't have to, you know, I don't have to have any issues later on. I'll just cut it up here. I can always cut it shorter if it doesn't fit. Again, these are so worth the money. You can cut hoses with them, and they're a good deal. Okay. Grab this airline here and push it on. There we go. Now let's see if that ends up being too long. And I think it's gonna be. Yeah. I'm gonna have to cut 3 inches off, and again, push that in, pull that out. I'm just marking it with my fingers about where I think it should go. Slide this through here. Cut that off. We'll try attaching it again. Right here. Now, later on, not today, next summer, I would like to take this whole system to the next level and put a valve on inside the cab so that I can reroute this to an air tank underneath the truck, and then put a whip hose on and I can fill tires and blow saws off. We're gonna do that next year though. Okay, I got this all set up more or less. Just making sure this is bottomed out. Okay, now I'm just gonna push this back here. Yeah, and I want to make sure I got enough extra, but I don't want it so long that I'm gonna have issues down the road. I think we got her the way we're gonna want her. There we go. Yeah, we're good like that. Now I'm going to connect another hose, another airline, and that's the one that's going to go through the firewall. Now, I've pre-planned all of this because like I said, I'm doing many projects at once. This should fit perfectly with, I got an electrical power wire going to my compressor, and then I'm going to have my EGT wire, my fuel pressure wire, and my boost line going through this grommet here. And I think it's just going to fit. I'm hoping. I might even throw everything through there before I button everything up just to make sure. But anyhow, this end goes to here. I'm going to pull it through under the dash. See if this is going to work. Perfect. Now all I got to do is bolt this down. Okay, here it is mounted up. I replaced the ground here. That's a factory ground bolt. It was all corroded, so I put a new stainless fastener in there. Here it is mounted. I pulled this red power wire. Now, I'm probably going to solder this connection on. This is actually the harness that comes with the unit. But again, so your ground can just ground to here, to the body, wherever you want to put it, and a power wire. Now we go inside and connect the gauge and the switch and rob power from somewhere, and we got airbags. Okay, here's under the dash. If you guys have never seen these, they're a couple bucks each. You can buy like a 5-pack for like 20 bucks online. This holds your original fuse, and then there's your new fuse, and it plugs right into the fuse holder. Fits in there. You don't got to cut no factory wires. Like this is where it's at. Now I roughly just tied this together. I'm using the same wiring for my pod gauges that we're going to be putting in the next video. So I didn't fully wire this system yet, but I wanted to mock it up and show you guys. Let's have a look at the gauge and what I decided to do with it. I never use this for anything. It's not deep enough for anything. It's just kind of there. So I drilled 2 holes. I pulled, here's the other end of the airline. It goes to this T. One goes to your dump valve here, and one goes to the gauge. Power and ground for your light bulb. And again, that goes to the light circuit. And then 2 powers for your switch. And when you hit the switch, it just makes the contact. Okay, when this is installed, it's going to look more or less like that. Now, I'm going to bend this bracket a little bit so that it fits up slightly, and so that, oh, there we go. Okay, it's going to go somewhere like that. I'm going to mount it, and it looks pretty factory when you're sitting in the driver's seat. I like that. I'm going to install the 2 screws, and then let's try this thing out. Okay, and here it is from the driver's seat. Again, doesn't get in the way of my foot or my leg. It's right there. I was thinking of mounting it down there, but honestly, I didn't want to have to reach down. I could just sit in the driver's seat. And it's got a momentary switch. 10 pounds. Okay, and we're going to leave this thing at 20 pounds overnight. Here's the dump. And let's check our power wire. Leave this thing at 10 for now. Pull the factory switch on. Okay, not too shabby. And again, it looks clean. It looks factory. It's not in the way. And it's nice and secure. Let's see how the bags pump up. Well, another evening and another project more or less complete. I got to clean up a little bit of wiring, put some zip ties in it, but we're good to go. That took realistically an hour, hour and a half. I had it all planned out. It's a pretty simple system to install. The only one thing that I have to put is there's a low pressure switch that you could adjust to about 5 pounds so that you'll never run out of air. If you have a leak or you're not paying attention, if you run these bags without air, you can destroy them. So I will have to wire that in. That's super simple. Basically, I just got to cut my power line and put that in between, and we're good to go. If you're going to put bags in your vehicle, spend the extra, $150, $250, depending on where you live, and put the compressor in, because honestly, it's well worth it. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Take her easy. Next time we'll put in the pillar gauges. Then I have to fix my fuel bowl and do an oil change, and we can put this thing back into service. Oh, and I have a coolant leak. We'll get her done. Later.